Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hillbilly Voodoo channel. This year's Project EOR, our extreme off-road wheelchair, or track vehicle thing, whatever this thing's going to end up being. Looks like a wheelchair, so extreme off-road wheelchair. Last time I got the belt adjuster built, connects the engine to the transmission with a belt. Threw the seat up there, and now I'm going to start making measurements for the hydraulic reservoir for the hydrostatic transmission. I have to admit that from this angle, it looks pretty ominous and pretty friggin' badass, so I wouldn't want to be laying on the sidewalk passed out somewhere when this thing comes rolling towards me. Well, I guess I'll get up off the floor here and start figuring out what we're going to do for a hydraulic reservoir. Kind of looks like we'll have enough space behind the seat here to put a hydraulic reservoir in there. That chunk of garden hose that I have in there temporary is the line that goes into the transaxle. And we got, oh, I don't know, 4 inches or so back there. So I think I'll see if I can find either maybe a chunk of 4-inch exhaust pipe, which I'm pretty sure I have laying around here, or maybe a chunk of 4-inch square tubing, and see if we can build a reservoir out of it. Found ourselves a chunk of 3 by 4. It's about 10 inches long, so if my math calculations are correct, that should be almost half a gallon. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it should be pretty close to half a gallon of reservoir. The original reservoir that was on this thing, I think, was just a little over a quarter of a gallon, or a quart, or whatever the hell you Americans call it. But here that would be 2 liters. So yeah, my math calculations are correct. It's a 2-liter reservoir, and the original would be only a 1-liter reservoir, so we should be good. Make it out of that, and it will hopefully fit in there nice. Have a direct feed straight down into the transaxle. That hose there goes around to another fitting in the front of the transaxle, so we'll have to put a bung in the bottom here, or a nipple I should say in the bottom there for that hose, and the return comes up and it'll have to go into the top there somewhere, and then we'll put a filler in this area and stuff it in there somewhere. Is that gonna work? I guess we're gonna find out. So I've been wandering around looking for pieces of pipe that will fit inside that hose, and surprise, surprise, I can't find anything that's the right size. These are all big, and that one's too small, and I could have swore I had some barb fittings that were the same size as that, but I'm thinking now that I used them to actually fix a garden hose, which was what they were for in the first place. Imagine that, fixing something with something that it's made to be fixed with. So, babble, 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 I found myself a bolt. Actually, I found myself a couple of bolts that they're this size, so they fit in there. Now, I'm gonna take it to the lathe and machine myself a super fancy looking barbed fitting that I can weld into there and make a tank out of it. So let's go do that. Got my bolt all chucked up here in the lathe, and the first step is going to be to bore a hole through it so that the fluid can flow through. Now that we got our hole bored all the way through there, we'll take it out. And I think we will take it outside and cut it probably right about there, because we don't need that big huge long bolt for just a barbed fitting. So we'll chop it down outside, and then we'll stick it back in the lathe and shape this side of it. The bolt chopped down here a little bit, flipped around, mounted back in the chuck, and then we're going to try to face it off and make ourselves a barbed fitting. This side of our bolt all cut down, got some grooves cut in there so that when you put the pipe over there, these little grooves will hold the pipe or the hose on with the clamps. So I'm going to flip it around, and we're going to machine a bit of a shoulder in here so that when we drill the hole through the tank, the shoulder will edge up against there, and it'll give us something to weld to. And there you go. We got ourselves two barbed fittings. Barbed nipples, barbed whatever the hell you want to call them. So we can drill holes in that tank now and weld those in there. Got one hole drilled in our tank here for that barbed fitting. That'll give you an idea of where it's supposed to be. But I didn't really think about the fact that this tank is going to be in here like this, and the other hose has got to come in on kind of an angle here. So in order for it to not hit the seat, I got to have, if the fitting, this fitting here, is sticking out like that, in order for it to not hit the seat, I gotta have it kind of going down like that. So I'm gonna have to build a 90-degree thing that I can weld into there, and then weld this into it, and hopefully that will solve our hose problem here, because there's not a huge amount of room, and maybe a 90-degree off of that side will work. But any way I go, the hose has got to come down here and down along here and plug in down here. So see what we can do here for a 90-degree fitting and make it work. So I built us a 90-degree nipple thing, adapter fitting thing here, that just took the nipple that we made and built another little 90-degree thing. So hopefully we can put that in there and weld that in there like that, and the hose will go down and miss the forward backward control thing and go right down into the where the fitting is on the transaxle. Yeah, that should work, I hope. So I've been recently watching some other YouTube type people, and they seem pretty concerned about this algorithm thing. Well, I don't really know who Al Gore is and what his rhythm problem is, but apparently if you make some comments on my videos and like and subscribe, then maybe we can help this Al Gore get his rhythm back. Yeah, I don't know what it does for him, but it doesn't really do anything bad for you, so maybe you can help the dude out. So we got our tank built here. We got our barb fittings welded into the bottom and our end caps welded on. We got our 90-degree fitting on there. And now all we need is a place to put the fluid in. So gonna have to build a bung and drill a hole. Yeah, a bung hole. In this tank. So we got this bolt adjuster thing that was in the rock crusher that we built the track cleats out of. We'll take that nut and turn it into a bung that we can weld in there. Yeah, a bung. And we'll put the bung in there and use that bolt as a plug and cut it down and see how that turns out.
Yeah, because everybody needs a bunghole. No, you need to plug your bunghole. Yeah, plug your bunghole. Bunghole.
Got our bolt and nut all checked up in the lathe here, and we'll start turning ourselves a bung. Well, there you go. There's our bung and our metal cap, and kind of looks like a cap and kind of looks like a bung, and put that together. Weld that into the bung hole, and away we go. Got our bung welded into the bung hole and our cap on there, and it kind of looks like a real thing and not just something that I made. Pretty sure that Cornholio will approve, and now all we have to do is make some brackets to hold the tank in there, and we should be done with this part of the project. Got some brackets built, welded in there, bolted in there. Got our hoses cut, put in there. Tank's all secure. Don't have any hose clamps on there yet because I'm sure this tank will be back out here in a few minutes or maybe in a few days or whenever, so that I can build the linkage to make this thing go forward and backwards without having to grab that greasy thing right there. So I think we're going to leave this video here, and remember, use what you got to make what you want. See you next time.